the January 13th, 2015 meeting of Pequannock Township Council. Mr. Delaney?
Pursuant to the requirements of New Jersey's Open Public Meetings Act, notice of this meeting is included in the annual meeting notice, which has been filed in the office of the Township Clerk, posted on the bulletin board here in the municipal building, published as a legal notice in the Suburban Trends newspaper, and mailed to those persons requesting notice and providing payment in accordance with Township policy.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a prayer and a moment of thanks for the individuals serving our nation. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Most gracious Providence, we ask that you bless this governing body with an abundance of wisdom and understanding, so that every deliberation will result in actions which will promote the common good and general welfare for all the people of Pequannock Township. Amen.
Mr. Delaney, roll call, please.
Mrs. Florence Lynch?
Here.
Mr. Cole?
Here.
Mr. Phelan?
Here.
Mr. Vanderhoff?
Here.
Mayor Winterfield?
Here. There are no presentations scheduled for this evening. At this time, are there reports or comments from any of the volunteers serving our community? Rocco?
Good thing you came.
Yeah, right.
But you won't have nobody to say. We got Frank.
Yeah,
fully charged.
He's a pinch hitter.
Rocco Salucci, Chairman of Fair Housing. I don't know at the next meeting, but anyhow, I'd just like to report that we almost at full compliance with all the people that were inside there. I think it's a great help that we received, and with the exception of a couple that we know that we have problems, so that we're trying to work on it to make sure that we resolve everything. As you know, we're going to be ready pretty soon to get ready to send out the new information sheet so we can stay on top of this here. But one thanks goes to, of course, to Dave and the help that you gave us over there. Very, very grateful. Thank you very much.
Frank? No? Okay. The next item on the agenda, public comments. This public comment period will be limited to a total of 30 minutes. An additional period of public comment is reserved later in the meeting. Individuals are requested to limit their questions and comments to 3 minutes. If anyone wishes to address the council, please wait to be recognized to come to the microphone and provide your name and address for the record.
Rocco?
You should have just stayed up there.
Rocco Salucci, 153 Jackson Road. The question that I have is pertaining to the sewers. I know that you have one of the resolutions tonight to accept a portion of it. Is the gentleman who's doing the work in compliance, is he ahead of schedule, behind, or what?
He's essentially on schedule. Because there's multiple things going on, there's 2 pump stations, there's a force main, there's gravity main in multiple areas. He was behind for a period of time last year, significantly behind at one point. He's essentially caught up. The pump stations are on target for exactly where they should be. The deadline for the area west of the railroad, which is the Turnpike Business District
Right.
area, the line that we are sectioning this evening. He did meet the deadline that had been established in the bid specifications for substantial completion of that. So he met that deadline.
Is he connected to the main on that already or no?
Everything is connected. It's ready to it's connected, tested, and ready to be connected to, which is why
Okay.
we're accepting it.
All right. So then in that case, so all the people, once you accept this here, then you gotta send notice to all the people to connect and the clock starts. Is that the way it works out? Okay, thank you very much. The reason that I asked the questions, I heard that they were really behind on work, but I'm glad that they're catching up to it. Even with the bad weather, that's a good thing. Thank you.
Louise, we're at the public comment. Do you have anything?
No, thank you for asking.
Okay.
Ask Mike.
Mike? No?
Michael, public comment.
Okay, there being no additional public comments, we'll continue with the agenda. Next on the agenda, public hearings. There are no public hearings scheduled for this evening. Next on the agenda, ordinance for introduction. There are no ordinance for introduction this evening. Oh, boy. The next on the agenda is item is resolutions. Mr. Delaney.
Yes, the following resolutions, Resolution R 2014-33, authorizing utility office refunds, tax payments for cancellations. I'm sorry, they should all be 15.
That's okay.
Correction, Resolution R 2015-33, R 2015-34, authorizing social affairs permit for Pequannock Township First Aid and Rescue Squad. Number 35, establishing the rate of employment for off-duty police officers for the year 2015. And Resolution 36, accepting substantial completion of Phase 1 of the village area sanitary sewer system.
Thank you. Are there any comments on the resolutions from council?
Just a question, are you going to make these 1 through 4, or?
They're all 2015. Is,
1 through 4, right?
Instead of
No,
33.
Oh, no, yes, actually, we numbered the resolutions from the reorganization of all the
Okay,
various
okay.
appointments. So these are the correct numbers.
Okay, just 15.
Just the wrong
I
year.
just checked
Just the
All
wrong
right.
year.
Just seeing if you're paying attention, Jay.
Rich, do you want to give a plug for the first aid squad?
February 7th, they're having their casino night. It's a lot of fun. I suggest or hope everybody will attend from council and from the public. It's one of their major fundraisers that they do every year, and it helps support the first aid squad. So,
Great.
I do have 2 questions, if that's
Yeah, go ahead.
okay. One had to do with Resolution 35. Just wanted to compare the difference of how that might change in the future to this year. For instance, when I first read this, probably one of the groups that comes to mind is the Chamber, how they utilize the police officers at the street fair. And just wondered if there was input or discussion on that and how that might affect an organization like that. Like, are these in line with pricing that they might have paid before? And I know it looks for, the workers' comp coverage and whatnot. So I just wanted to ask Dave if he could expand on that a little bit.
The wage rate is based on a calculation that considers, it's the average rate of all of our officers turned into an overtime rate, and it includes all of the benefits that are wage-based. Social Security, for instance. So, if we're paying out, some type of wage-based benefit, those are calculated in also. So it increases based on whatever the increase in the average wage is. It's a direct calculation.
There's no negotiation. It's just a calculation.
It's just a straight calculation.
what's the difference between last year and
Yeah,
this year?
that's fine.
That was my main question.
I think it was like a 2.6% increase, and that was, no, and the reason it's not, it doesn't match the amount to the contract is because you've got guys on steps,
Right.
and because we do an average rate calculation, if you've got guys moving up steps, it increases it slightly higher than that percentage. There's also a calculation that includes health benefits, which obviously impacts it also.
So it's not that much more than last year, it's only 2% more.
Correct.
So-
And it's, the police don't charge for all of the public service overtime that they do, so.
Yeah, that's why I just wondered if it
that
would
wouldn't be
affect
impacted.
that.
It's more directed at contractors.
Right.
It makes for easier billing. Contractor, if you tell them this is the per hour rate, rather than, doing an actual billing based on the officer's assigned, because then it depends, if you've got a senior officer compared to a junior officer, one contractor might be paying a lot more than another, so it just kind of takes that,
Right.
levels the playing field for what the contractors are. They know what the rate is up front, so they know if they have, 8 hours of work in the field, they can plan for it. Makes
Make-
billing easier.
And it makes sense for the contractors. I just wondered if it was adversely affecting an organization such as the Chamber.
The nominal increase shouldn't be if they're being billed, and a lot of the organizations
Are not. Okay.
You had another question, too?
I guess my only other question had to do with the sewer hookups. That 3 years is what we extended, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. All right, that was it. Thank you.
Okay. Anyone else?
I'm
Dave,
good.
you're
I'm
good? Jay, you're good?
We're good.
Okay, is there a motion to adopt these resolutions?
I'll make a motion to adopt Resolution 2015-33 through 2015-36.
I'll second.
Roll call?
Mrs. Florence Lynch,
Yes?
Mr. Cole,
Yes,
Mr. Phelan,
Yes.
Mr. Vanderhoff.
Yes.
Mayor Winterfield.
Yes. Next item on the agenda is items for discussion. I see committee appointments.
Okay, I'm a little confused. What are we discussing?
I don't know, who put that on there?
I did not put it on, but I do believe that the reason it's on there is there was 3 applications that came in
Late.
after for the Senior Advisory Committee, so I think Jay included them in here. So if we, I don't know if we want to make appointments tonight or discuss it at all. There was basically, for 2 remaining openings, there was 3 applications, but there's some recommendations in here because the 3rd application that came in, she only wanted to do it if there was an opening.
Well, what I'd like to see is, Jay Delaney, is, you know the spreadsheet we have with all of the committees?
Yes.
If you could fill it up with all the new appointments and so we have where the holes are, so that when we do this, we can do it in one swoop?
Sure.
So we don't keep doing it every meeting
Right.
if we are going to choose to do it
Right, but I'm under the impression that we're going to do this twice a year.
in June.
Right, so they're gonna wait until June because we had this discussion about people putting in their applications.
I would prefer
late.
that.
And we specifically said if they put it in late, oh well, they have to wait till June. So now we're already backing up and saying, well, maybe we should appoint somebody.
Well, getting the spreadsheet, getting ready for June, resoliciting maybe in May,
Right,
so at least we know where we stand.
right, but we
And-
did
yeah.
have this conversation, and we
Mhm.
did specifically say, there are gonna be people who put it in late, and we did specifically say, well, then they'll have to wait till June.
But we should respond to them.
Yes,
Thank you, we got your application, it was received after the deadline. We will be reappointing in June, please, if you're interested, well, let us know, we'll hold on to your application or resubmit in May, something to those
right,
words.
because we were trying to tighten this whole process up.
absolutely.
Yeah. And people can attend, all meetings of all
Correct.
committees are all public. And we should let them know that too, that please participate so that you're up to speed. If you really have a desire to be part of this committee, group, whatever.
And as far as the
We can
the
do some
overall
together.
listing, we generally wait until the end of January when the boards and committees reorganize, because
For the
we indicate
chairs.
on there who the chair, vice
Good
chair.
idea, yeah.
But I will have that for you.
Okay, all right, okay. And I know Jay, V, you asked about the letters, and thank you very much, and I have the letters to sign tonight so that they go out, so everybody knows that that's going to happen. Okay, all right, good. Anything else on that, or we're good?
Good.
Okay. Next item on the agenda, reports and notices. Any questions on any of that stuff? I'm good. Managers report?
Both 34 Hampton Place and 21 Lyman Ave closed under the HMGP program since our last meeting, and the township also closed on the Mines property adjacent Mountainside Park last week. The water main work to be undertaken by the developer along West Sunset is completed. Some additional grading needs to be completed to accommodate storm drainage in the short term. Paving will need to wait until the spring due to some freezing temperatures. Bids were opened last week for emergency tree work, emergency water main repairs, and PV Park concession. Upon completion of bid review, recommendations for award will be made for the emergency tree and water main work. Despite verbal contacts with a couple potential bidders, no bids were received for the PV Park concession. We will need to do a second round of bids before we proceed with the process to try and find someone for that. And an updated project status report is
So the person who's usually there wasn't interested?
the person who is usually there and another interested party who also we thought
Was
we were going to
interested?
get a submission.
Nothing.
Didn't provide.
Okay, that's interesting. Okay. The next item on our agenda is council reports and announcements. Mr. Cole?
Well, we've had a couple solid waste committee meetings. Frank Spazzeri is the chairman of that. This last Thursday, we met with the owner of Gata Recycling, just to, pick his brain on what could be done better in town, some different ideas that we had. We are scheduling another contractor to come in a couple weeks, so that committee's going pretty good. Parks and Rec met last night. They had their reorganization meeting. Tom Andre is the chair and Bill Zickler is the vice chair. There was a lengthy discussion about the field ordinance that was passed not too long ago. There is one individual that continually emails Melissa and myself about that. And I personally don't think it's going to go away until we get him some answers, Dave, so if you can...
I'll try and schedule a meeting with him.
Yeah.
I mean, we have spoken in the past. I know that he still
Yeah, so...
is not happy, but
Right.
I think rather than attempting to email back and forth, I'll actually try and sit down.
Okay. Open Space also met last night, their reorganization meeting. Again, Frank Spizzeri is the chair, and Robin Jones is the vice chair. And that's all I have.
Okay, how about the liaisons to any others? Did we have to cover any of that? To,
We don't have any
Open
yet.
space.
We haven't,
I don't think the planning board is put that. No, we haven't
and
done
I
it.
don't think the historic committee met yet either to put somebody on. Am I correct by that, Frank?
That's correct. We have actually no liaisons at the
Oh,
present.
we have
Okay.
the environmental guy that's still there.
Which
I'll
one?
take it, we'll
The
just gotta work on
environmental-
that, that's all.
They're meeting tomorrow.
He showed up last night. What's his name?
Jeff?
Jeff, yes.
Jeff Morrell, yeah.
Jeff
But
Marino.
we don't know if he's staying or he's,
Okay,
But he
So
did
they haven't
tell us
met yet.
Last night at the last night's meeting.
okay, all right. Thank you. Melissa?
The flood committee met. They continue to work with our floodplain managers, Joe Golden and Jim Hostetler, and they're working on a plan for elevations for the entire flood area. So they're working closely with Jim Hostetler on that. There'll be more to come on that. They could not rework last night because they did not have a quorum, so they'll do that at the next meeting. And the Environmental Commission is meeting tomorrow night, as you know. They will have two representatives from Pilgrim just to come in. That's going to answer some questions. Actually, just tonight, there was a list of questions that they responded to, so I can forward that to the council if I did not do that before. I just got it tonight at
Okay.
5:30.
Okay.
Okay, and that's
Okay.
it.
Thank you. Councilman Phelan?
I already put my plug in for the first aid squad, so that's it.
Good, okay, good. And Councilman Vanderhoff?
Fire departments have met. We've got new officers for 2015. Chris is in company 1, and Bill is continuing as chief in company 2. So
And Company One has a 100-year anniversary due this
it's
year.
coming, it's coming.
Are they doing anything? Are they planning? Because we were talking about the historic.
They're-
I think the current plan is because they're expecting apparatus in
Okay.
August, is to do a combined wet down to anniversary celebration.
Oh, that's great, okay. All right, that's good.
That's it.
Okay, all right, thank you. Okay, what do I have? As Historic Commission, as we spoke about the anniversary, and you know that at our reorg, we had our presentation by our historian talking about the 275th anniversary of Pequannock. I'm wondering, anyone council has interest in doing any kind of ad hoc committee, anything we want to do to recognize that? Maybe we could tie it in with the wet down, and that we could do something with that. Just,
I would be
idea.
interested.
yeah, all right, because I don't think we have to do something.
Right,
It's
I
a
would be
big deal.
interested. Would you like to be on the committee too?
I'm very interested.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
You got two people.
Because the Historic Commission's got a lot of things going on. They can't take that on too.
If the council agrees, you and I will take that on.
Okay. And we'll try to entwine it with
Yeah,
the organizations in
Right, with
town.
the fire company.
For the 250th, actually, that's how Tucker Platt originally got, involved locally
It's
with
nice.
a lot of things. He chaired the 250th anniversary
Very nicely
committee.
done.
I'm sure that there's a file somewhere in our attic.
Didn't they have a ball? They told me they had some kind of
There
ball,
was.
and it was dressed in the garb of the time
Yes.
period and all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
There was
dance.
a banner or a flag or.
There should be a banner
Right.
across the north.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll,
You know, Betty Schmidt, you know.
yeah, I think she had the ball, and they had it at, I think,
She
Stephen
was the
Joyce.
mayor at the time, yeah.
Yeah, so, all right, okay, all right, well, that's great. And then also, we talked about the Historic Commission and how the statutory regulations relate to our ordinance. And does it any longer? And if you could take a look at that and see if we have to upgrade or
Okay.
change. Because what's in our book is like 2 lines.
Okay,
So I don't know if we really need to maybe redo that.
okay, I'll look.
Okay. Also, the solicitation ordinance we had talked about.
Yeah, I am working on that. I actually did a draft last week.
Okay.
And I hope to have it for tonight, but we're having some computer issues, so
Okay.
it'll be for the next meeting.
Okay, well, let's hold out. I don't think we're doing it now, but it'd be nice to do that before it gets warm out, and that way we can do that. And what else do I have? Jay Delaney, do we have a game plan for a minute?
We do, I've actually prepared, we're working sort of backwards and forwards simultaneously.
That's
You
perfect.
have the reorg. I thought the new year is a good place to start fresh, and we're going to pick up the backlog.
Okay, good. All right, as long as we have a plan. Okay. Okay, next on the agenda.
Mayor, I had one more thing.
Oh, sure.
Dave, I don't know if you, actually, Tom Andrea told me last night, one of the Boy Scouts in Troop 144, have they been in touch with you about the Eagle project for the gazebo?
Not with me.
There is someone that's going to be doing it, so.
I had asked Tom for, to see if he had someone who was interested.
Tucker's name came up and I remembered it, so
Okay,
there is someone that's gonna be doing it.
very good.
Yeah, because that's in disrepair, right? Yeah, okay. Next on the agenda is public comment. If anyone wishes to address the council, please wait to be recognized to come to the microphone and provide your name and address for the record. Rocco?
I'm making up for all the time that I miss you guys.
We missed you.
Still Rockwell Solution, 153 Jackson Road. The property that you have next to Frank Sanitation, still in litigation? Is it possible it could be going on for the last couple of years or something? You see no end of it?
I don't see that at the moment.
Really? Well, that's pretty nice. It's been an eyesore now for the last few years. And you ought to hear some of the complaints that, or remarks that people are making out there. I'm sure that you're aware of it. I have something else that, from the garbage committee that I'm sure that the deputy mayor probably forgot to bring up. They were discussing about the processing fee. Have you discussed with the?
The health officer did discuss it with,
They did. Okay.
town manager.
We'll send a formal request.
They seem to think that there might be an excellent possibility just to pay for the processing of it and then go dump any place that you want to. It seems to be like a good loophole to get out of it, honestly. But it all depends on what kind of fees that they charge in. In other words, if it's $30, $40 a ton to process, it doesn't make any sense. But if it's about $10, we still come out ahead, way ahead. So faster we can get into it. It doesn't take place until we get awarded a new contract. But we need to know before the contract expires so that we can award which way we go with the options. Thank you.
Rocco, I have a question for you. Have you
Sure.
made any progress or anything with the tipping fees with the freeholders where Hank Lyon had
I
invited
put
you?
2 calls in and they're yet to reply.
Okay.
And I'm just waiting when they come in to visit us again at the either town hall or the Republican Club meeting. I have a few chosen words to take with them. It might be in Italian or what now, but everybody knows which ones they
No,
are.
keep the heat up on that. That's good.
I think that it's disgraceful when they make promises to you and it's done in the 2 years in a row from 2 different people, including the person who's in charge of the committee, and they never called. And I put some calls in and they don't reply. That's, to me, is more disturbing than anything else. If they promise up and down that they're gonna do it, and I even did it in public, if you guys remember when they, at a meeting over here, I addressed that. And they came back and they said they will definitely get in touch with you. I give them my phone numbers and my email and everything else for probably everybody in New Jersey should know, but I still can't get a call.
All right, thank you, Rocco.
Thanks.
Henry?
Good evening, Henry Samick, for Misty Court Township of Pequannock. I'm here for, well, first of all, my question is, where's the $2 million for the bicycle pedestrian path?
So I thought it was $5 million.
5 million?
That's what I heard.
Well, all right, but 2 million was for Pequannock, and I guess 3 million maybe is for Wayne. I don't know. But anyway, 2 million or 5 million, where's that money?
The grant was assigned to the county many years ago.
Okay. Now, we have a problem in the state of New Jersey with our roads and our infrastructure. Not only is it a state problem, but it's a federal problem. And instead of spending $2 million or $5 million for nonsense, for a bicycle path that's going to go from Pequannock through Wayne to Mountain View train station, wouldn't it be nice if our council would make up a resolution, right, saying that we are opposed to a state tax on gasoline, an increase in tax on gasoline, as well as opposed to a federal tax increase on gasoline, because it's coming down the pike. I think it's about time that somebody was in the forefront, some council, some governing body from some town, to say, listen, enough is enough already. We're getting beat up constantly. The taxes in the state of New Jersey are the highest in the country. And now we're going to be going out and getting additional taxes on top of the gasoline tax that's already existing in the state of New Jersey, right? It's got to stop. I would think that if the council went out and got a resolution and proposed a resolution and sent it to the state, send it to the federal government, send it to Rodney Frelinghuysen, our congressman, who's supposed to be representing us. I don't know if any of you heard of GRIP. You ever hear that, GRIP, what that means? Get rid of incumbent politicians. If they're not going to do the job for us, get rid of them. To get people in there that are going to do the job, that are going to not take the nonsense and crap, pardon my grammar, right? And do something for the people of our town and our state, and in our country too, because the congressmen and the United States senators are supposed to be representing not just our state, but other states as well. Because they make deals, as you well know, you probably do know, that, oh well, I'll do it for you, but you do it for me. That's how it works.
Well, they've rated those accounts like they've rated the pensions too. Henry.
Yeah.
It's not just, pensions.
I know.
They've rated that too.
But our infrastructure, this New Jersey Transit, that's Vice President Sullivan, he was the one basically who was pushing for the bicycle pedestrian path. They got the money. The money's just sitting there.
It's locked up.
Why don't they just take the money and put it into the problem with the roads, the infrastructure?
Is there come on a statute thing when there's a limitation on grant money that gets locked up, that it gets released at some point if nothing is done with it?
Not those federal grants. Those federal grants go on forever because typically projects take.
But they don't have to. They don't have to. They
You
can
would
be
think that somebody
rescinded and
would do
redirected.
this. You would think that something like that. There would be something.
Yeah, state grants, county grants all have very specific time grants. Even the FEMA grants are 3 years. But federal transportation, they know that
That's amazing.
But if we could take our money that was that we were going to fund this bicycle pedestrian path, which to me, again, I had written an article to the letters to the editor years ago. I thought it was ridiculous, especially in 3/4 of an area that floods. You'd have to go out and have more police officers put on the payroll, because they would have to go out and police this area, because you know damn well the county park isn't going to police
Well, I
it.
would think before we do anything, Henry, though, as a council, we would like to float this by our Parks and Rec committee and see how they feel about the bike path, and if they'd be willing to abandon something like that. I'd like to get their input, so maybe if you could bring that up at the next committee meeting, because they speak to the people, and then they could talk to their friends and see if this is something that would be the will of the people of Pequannock, if you could do that. Thank you,
I
Henry.
mean, our roads are falling apart, our infrastructure, our bridges, they need repair. The money has to come from somewhere. So
That's a
why
good
don't we
idea.
take that money and put it, instead of a bicycle pedestrian path, which doesn't get you anything except taking a ride from here down to the Mountain
Well,
View train
I have to
station.
say, Henry, I do have neighbors who keep asking me when is it going to be built. So I would like to float it by a committee and float it by others and see.
Well, then ask your neighbors, all right? What's more important? Fixing our bridges and our roads, or maybe you want to see some deaths when the bridge collapses and people get killed? That's more important than a bicycle pedestrian path, I would think. Thank you.
Henry.
Mayor, could I just make a comment?
Sure.
Allison, we already did it.
But
Yeah,
if you
sorry,
want
I
to,
thought
you
the
can.
meeting was 7:30. Greg lied.
That's okay, it's already been done, everything's good.
Thanks.
She can do it again if she wants.
No, no.
Okay, all right, Louise.
Is that all right?
But if you have flyers to leave.
I have flyers on.
Okay.
Hi, Louise Marchese of 16 Roland Road. I was just wondering, Dave, has anything been done, any dialogue with Eleanor Bogert about the Martinberry house negotiating the price yet?
I have engaged in conversations with her, and I will report to council in the executive session on that
Thank you.
result.
That's progress, Louise. Anyone else? Next on the agenda, are there any items for closed session discussion? Yes. Is there a motion to approve?
I paid my way.
All right, we're going to close session, everyone.